Hi everybody, I am Jim Wanzeck with Remax Masters Millennium. We are here with Vicki Mahan at our headquarters at 6020 Greenwood Plaza Boulevard. We're in the Mount Albert studio where we broadcast all over the country, but we're here to try and get to know Vicki a little bit better. Vicki, how you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Well, there's a lot of things I want to ask you today, but still start telling me about you as a person and you know where you grew up and kind of just give us some background about you.
Okay. I was born in Aurora, Colorado at Fitzsimmons Army Hospital. Then kind of moved all over the United States and overseas quite a bit. Lived in Uruguay for about 3.5 years.
Okay.
I think grade school and first few years of kindergarten, everything was there. So,
Okay,
yeah.
that's interesting.
Yes,
Great.
yeah.
So you said all over. So how many countries did you live in besides America?
Oh, probably 4. Lived in 4 countries. Probably have traveled through 12, 18, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I know you're fluent in Spanish. So how did that,
Yes.
just tell me how that worked, because I'm still working on English. So tell me how that worked for you.
Kindergarten through 2nd grade was at a parochial school in Uruguay.
Okay.
And then, so I probably learned the basics there, but then never used it again until, I used it maybe a little bit in school and
Okay.
things like that. But then went to Venezuela. I met my ex-husband. He was at the School of Mines, and so moved to Venezuela. And so I knew house, dog, cat, things like that in the beginning.
Right.
So I watched a lot of soap operas. Soap operas were very helpful and kind of getting, and then combination of soap operas and the translations, because translations were very slow, whereas the soap operas were very fast. So I think,
Great. Well, that's pretty interesting.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your real estate career and how you got into real estate, maybe a little bit before.
Ooh. Well, in Venezuela, I had several different jobs, and one was teaching English as a second language to my son, which he probably wasn't happy with.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I worked with refinery workers that didn't speak English, and we did a program out of Pennsylvania. So went to Pennsylvania, learned that system, and then set it up there with some people that I worked with. And then was the liaison between the government and there was an upgrading project because there was an oil refinery, and it's the biggest oil refinery in the world.
Okay.
And this, I think, the largest upgrading project. And so that was probably my first taste of real estate.
Okay.
I mean, it was different because it was 400 homes that we had to put executives in trailers and set up a trailer camp.
Oh,
and
wow.
So that was interesting anyway.
Sure, but interaction with people was something that, seems like is just natural for you.
It is. Yeah, I like people for the most part.
Well,
So, yeah,
good.
in general.
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So how did you get to Colorado then?
I moved back to Colorado in the 80s through a divorce, and then did a lot of different jobs. And I remember the first time I went into a bagel store. I wanted a bagel store. I thought, this is a lot of, the overhead isn't bad, 4 bins, and I knew bagels, but I don't know why I knew bagels.
Okay.
And, but it took me about 10 years. And then finally I was able to get a bagel store. But then when the bagel store, and it was a great time because my father worked with me.
Cool.
And that was good. That was a lot of fun. And then one of my daughters worked for me, and a lot of friends.
Okay.
And,
it takes a lot of people to run a store that's open all the time like that.
yes, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning. We had we won for best bagels in Colorado.
Wow.
Or in Denver the first year out.
Okay.
So we even beat some of the big boys type thing.
Okay.
So that was fun.
Where
And
was your
then,
store located?
Bellevue, the Marina Square Shopping
Oh, wow.
Center. So
Okay,
close
so
by.
right around the corner from
Yes,
us.
close by.
Okay.
Got something in my eye. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. But then prior to that, I was doing new home sales, and so I decided to get my sales license.
Okay.
But when I had the bagel store, I let it lapse, and so I had to take the whole
Oh, no.
course again. So that was probably 90s.
Okay.
The sales license, but I really didn't do anything with it. And then in 2000, that's when I went back and.
Okay. Okay. So did you sell the bagels or just let it lap? Does that kind of just another chapter in your life, and then got right into real estate after that?
Yes, another chapter in my life. New home sales.
Okay.
In that respect, because
Okay.
I knew I liked everything from Venezuela, and kind of translated into that. And my background was in accounting, so I did work in accounting firms.
Okay. So numbers are good with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
numbers are good with me.
Oh,
so,
neat. That's
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, okay, you deal with a lot. I mean, I know listings, and we've recently had a client that we worked with that we're working with that did some land, but it was in all Spanish. And so that's been fabulous because I did a little bit of the grunt work, but you did all the interpretation and we worked together. That was a blast.
It was. I really, really enjoyed that. Yes, I love our industry because I think, you have to know certain kind of like a template, but there's every deal's different. Every deal's different.
That is for sure.
Yes, and that's one of the things I like. I like the consistency of one side, but the uniqueness of the other. Because,
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, one of the things that I'm impressed with is that you've embraced our technology, and you're really interested in that, and you come to my classes, which is really, it's a training, it's a learning process, because I think what some of that stuff does is get your name out there so that people can really know who you are without, really knowing you. And so it works 24 hours a day. And our goal really here is individualism. And so you have Vicki Mahan, you have all of those websites, and you're really working on that. I'm really impressed with your effort in doing that because a lot of people our age are scared of it.
Yes, that's true. But I think I'm a very curious person, always have been.
Okay.
And so I think that's one thing that I had a friend who works in this office, and she kind of dragged me. She's much more technologically advanced than I, forever, because I met her years ago at Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
And so I know in the beginning she would drag me, and I'm like, zoop, right over my head. But that was helpful. And then I like to learn new things. I like new things. And so,
okay. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what would you think that you do that really can put your buyers and sellers, in a comfort zone? Tell me about how you work with them.
Well, I think I listen really well and communicate. I think that's one of my fortes. And sometimes it's a positive or negative. If there's issues with a situation, then I think I talk.
Let me put it this way for you, because you recently had a situation where you went over and above the call of duty because you had some storage lockers that were owned by the condo that you were selling, and that story. But you really dove in and worked really hard, even though you didn't cross the line of the sellers and buyers. You really got in there and really made a difference to say, okay, here's what we have to do. We've got some basically people that were holding that hostage, but yet you worked through it and took your time and made it work without creating an issue. So I really appreciate that about you.
Oh, well, thank you. And then yesterday I got a landscaper, picked him up at the light rail and took him to my client's house. They're going to list it on Sunday, and so it was a mess, and so I took the landscaper to their house because he didn't have a car. So.
Oh, neat. Well,
Yeah,
and that's
so-
what I really know, that you really
Yeah.
do go over and above the call of duty. So we really appreciate you in the office and how your efforts are there. You're part of our network, and you just are willing to just step in there and help. And I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you in those classes because it really has. I mean, each time I pick up a tiny bit more, and sometimes, but I really enjoy them. I do. So
Well, and I think what that does is we get to know each other a little bit better, and then we help each other in that need of whatever that comes down the line.
Exactly.
And I think that now that we're having our classes in person and trying not to have so many on the line,
Yeah.
that we really like that. I think yesterday's class was really helpful because people got to know each other a little bit
Yes,
better, and
yes.
I think it helped just on the sense of, okay, how do you do things and work together? Because I will tell you, one of our technology goals is for your name to be center and front of that, so that we're all working together, but it's really the individual that, in real estate that makes a difference. I know a lot of people like teams and that thing, but I think we have one really big team.
I do too. And when you were talking yesterday about Eric has been so beneficial. I mean, he's a good teacher, and I mean he's a straight shooter, which I like. And I mean, yeah, he'll tell you what you need. And like last time, and I do have to work on that. He told me what I have to do, which are my videos to get
Yes,
rid of
absolutely.
you and put mine in.
That's exactly
So,
right.
yeah, so-
That's why I'm there, to piss you off a little bit, so that you get your own video,
Yes.
because your own style, and then people can know who you really are,
Yeah.
so they get very comfortable at calling you. Because our real estate business is all about relationships, and you
Yes.
really deal with that wonderfully. And I really appreciate you in the office. So tell me, how would people get a hold of you?
My telephone number is 303-641-4444 or 303-641-4444. Gracias.
Yeah, that is so awesome. But Vicki, thank you for being in the office and spending some time a little bit. We're really excited so that you out there can get to know Vicki just a little bit better today. That makes a difference in our office. So thanks a lot very much for listening, and looking forward to the next time. Thanks, Vicki.
Thank you.